been there for years. My kids, my wife, they're not used to going to games, like all home games. So I didn't want to throw them into the sun like I wanted them to. Otherwise, I was looking over there. I could have gotten lower bowl, you know, for what I paid for upper deck. But it would have been constant complaining.
Although, like I told you, though,
I would have been fine. Lori, I'm so sorry. For that.
Before they redid the city,
Like at the Rocky Mountain National Park.
25
I just responded to the email.
home side, it was 10 rows up. And when the action was done on our side of the field, it was great.
Yeah.
But I got to admit, when I went to the far side,
I know.
and that's why when they redid the stadium,
budget attendance.
because originally I was going to go to the home side, but I wanted to get my first or second row,
Budget hearings.
basically the same at the 45, 50 yard line.
I think two
They were all big.
was the record.
So when I was talking to the guy, the ticket agent,
I think they're just beating the rain.
he goes, I'm going to tell you something.
We have four citizens.
If you can get, first 2, 3, 4 rows upper bowl, he said, those are the best seats in the house. Because he said, you can see everything.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right.
He was right. We're 45-yard line, 10 rows up, second deck, or upper deck. And I had to, my son plays football, I was explaining, he's like, I keep catching him looking at the screen. I get it, I do too sometimes, but I'm like, hey, you can watch the play develop. Yeah, I like watching the play, you get to see what you don't get to see if you're watching this hard work. And I agree with you. And you don't get that.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to get started.
And once you, Christoph, you see the big.
So it is September 8th, 2022, 5:30 p.m. I'd like to get started, please. Thank you. This is our first public hearing for the proposed millage rate and the proposed budget. Lori, can I get a roll call, please?
Mayor Young,
Here.
Vice Mayor Stone,
Here.
Councilmember Deambra,
Here.
Councilmember Brandon, Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the agenda item 1. Jeremy, I'll give you the floor for the presentation.
Yep, Mayor and Council, tonight I'll give you a quick presentation or overview presentation of the budget. Maybe. Most of this you've seen. We've had several workshops, several planning sessions. Our budget will serve as a management guide, planning document, and as well as a financial roadmap throughout the coming year. The village staff developed the budget with the goal of providing a range of important services to residents as we continually strive to increase the quality of life for our residents and our visitors alike. Recommendations include the fiscal year 22-23 budget. Proposed budget represented a commitment to efficient and effective management of village's many resources while advancing the village council's priorities, strategic plan, and vision. As we talk a little bit about our key dates, I'd just like to thank our council, for the vision, providing the vision, and of course all of our staff. Most are here or have been a part of this process, and just the hard work. I know the council's put in many hours, and you guys don't get paid enough for what you guys do. So just there's a lot of people need thanking, and that this is the time to do that. So I appreciate everybody's hard work on the budget process. These were some of the key dates that we've had throughout this process. Of course, tonight, September 8th is our first hearing. Our final hearing will be September 15th, which is next week. So, no planned millage rate increase. Overall increase is 15.48% in the taxable values. A significant portion of this is due to the new sales, which represents the taxable value for new property owners. The homestead property is limited to a CPI or 3% increase, whichever is less. More than 90% of the village residential units have this homestead exemption. The non-homestead property is limited to 10% increase. Commercial property is limited to 10% increase as well. You also have kind of a history of our millage rate. You can see we've continued to be flat. Our millage rate, or the proposed millage rate, will remain the same. Just a few changes we made based on the last workshop that we had. We got direction to remove the beautification project and the $13,000 from the council chambers, and then the remaining budget, the $50,000 for a village-wide feasibility assessment for undergrounding. This is a summary of the funds. As you see, of the $38 million, $16 million, $143,248 is the general fund. The utility fund is $17,927,661. A big portion of that is our proposed debt service that we have using the state revolving fund. Just a breakdown, you guys have seen this slide before, a breakdown of where our proposed expenditures will go. A large portion is salary and employee benefits, and then of course operating expenditures and debt service. Proposed revenue, a large portion of our revenue comes from property taxes, some other things charged for service, intergovernmental, franchise fees, other taxes. So this general fund, just the breakdown sheet for the general fund. The estimated revenue is $16,143,248, and at the end of the closing of the 23 year, we estimate to have a reserve balance of $3,457,250. The building fund, the budget for this year is $845,560. We're estimating $604,000 in permit fees. And we do have a truck that we're closing out of the reserve from the building fund this year. Other governmental funds, we do have a capital fund. This is primarily funded through the utility tax and the 1 cent sales tax that we receive from the state. We have a budget items of $1,218,122. We also have a capital projects fund that's funded from general fund revenues, $294,895, and then the special law enforcement fund, we have proposed budget of $99,707. The first capital improvement fund is the surtax utility tax. As I mentioned, the $1,218,122. You've seen this slide before, but this is a list of the project that we propose. It's kind of hard to see in this particular. I think you guys have this in your packet as well, but this is a list of projects that we plan on funding from the capital fund this year. The next slide on this represents the water utility fund capital projects that we plan on funding. You see $12,993,000. And then the stormwater fund, we plan on funding $419,000 in capital projects out of the stormwater fund. This is the 303 fund. This fund is funded from the general fund. We do have 2 sidewalk projects that are projected out of this, plus the half of the Palm Beach County fire contract, the revenues that we receive from them, we are putting in this fund for future purposes of future fire trucks or vehicles. Enterprise fund, kind of a breakdown. We kind of went over the water utility fund, $17,927,661. On the right of this, you'll see the proposed, I guess, the highlights of this fund: a rate increase of 3.5%. Water treatment plant upgrades, $5,650,000. Water treatment plant train replacement, $256,000. Water main replacement program, $5,554,000. And then the well rehabilitation replacement, $791,000. Water main and raw water main relocation county line bridge is $152,000. And the filter media replacement, $450,000. Refuse and recycling, we did have to go up in rates for this, for the waste management. We anticipate an unrestricted net position at the end of this year of $39,253. And then the stormwater fund, as you guys know, we have several projects listed. The El Portal Drive projects, $315,000. We have some stormwater pipeline at $52,000. Some pipe replacement, $26,000, and some swell restoration of $26,400. So with that, I can answer any questions or take any further direction from council. I will read. Yes. So the Village of Tequesta is a taxing authority. The proposed millage rate is 6.629 mils. The proposed operating millage rate necessary to fund the budget is 14.53% greater than the rollback rate of 5.7879 mils. The specific purposes for which the ad valorem revenues are being increased is to fund the general fund operations. A summary of the tentative budget has been provided in the presentation, but just to summarize, it is the $38 million, $47,264, of which the general fund is $16 million, $143,248. With that, Mayor, I turn it back over to you.
Okay, so For this public hearing, I'll actually open it to public comment first. So any member of the public desiring to address the village council on the proposed millage rate or the proposed budget will be given the opportunity to do so. The public is permitted to ask questions prior to the adoption of any motions. Do we have any public comment tonight?
Marcia Nielsen, 94 Beechwood Trail. I'm addressing the underground utility studies that we talked about last time. At the August 1 workshop, what was being considered pertaining to the underground utilities was, quote, all overhead distribution lines, feeder, and laterals in the Village of DeQuesta Country Club area. Estimated cost was a little over $6 million. Not to include many additional expenses. 30 days later, at the August 29 workshop, the criteria had changed. What is now being considered for the Kimberly Horn contract is a feasibility study for, quote, facilities within the village boundaries, approximately 2.26 square miles, end quote. If the estimated price tag for Country Club is over $6 million, think about the estimated cost for the entire village. We have many more important priorities in the village. As I was watching with horror in what is happening in Mississippi, top on my list is our aging water system and accelerating the advanced asbestos cement pipe replacement program as presented at the 8-1 workshop. Although we cannot mix funds, I would much prefer to have my tax bill accelerating that program than funding underground utilities. Next fiscal year, without a millage increase, the village will realize a substantial revenue gain due to increased assessed values. Homeowner property taxes will rise. $49,000 to fund Kimberly Horn's feasibility study might seem a small amount in the overall budget. However, bear in mind that $49,000 is twice the average Social Security annual income for a senior. Eliminating this item would send a message that in spite of increased revenues, this council is ever vigilant with tax dollars not to fund studies and consulting fees for projects that are not vital to all residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Nope. Okay. Close the public portion of the hearing. I'd like to open it for council input.
I have one item.
I have nothing to add.
I should have probably brought this up earlier. Maybe something, Jeremy, you're already aware of, but we kind of got a gift, regardless of what your position is on Brightline, we kind of got a gift because basically every 3 years the railroad comes in and redoes those crossings. And the municipalities or governmental entity that has responsibility for those crossings is responsible for the bill. In the past, we had very little say, probably no say, in who did the work and what the costs were. And the last time it was done, those costs ranged between $300,000 and $400,000. Because of Brightline and because of the discussions that took place between the various governmental entities in Brightline agreed to the upgrades of all the crossings and the installation of the infrastructure to establish quiet zones at their cost. So they're doing this at this time around, but 3 years from now, they're going to come back and redo those crossings once again, and we're going to get a bill for it. Now, you'll have to go back and look at it. There was some discussion, Keith, I don't know if you remember any of this, there was some discussion about getting some increased transparency out of FEC when they did in fact go forward to do this work. I can't remember what the nature of that discussion was or whether it really had any material benefit, but we are going to be faced 3 years out with this cost, and again, historically it's run between $300,000 and $400,000. So to the Vice Mayor's point, when we talk about setting up maybe some reserves in anticipation of future expenses, I know it's not in this budget, but as we go forward, we need to make sure that we are cognizant of this and know it's coming, and we do set some monies aside so it doesn't hit us and surprise us, and all of a sudden we've got a $300,000 to $400,000 hole in our budget.
Thank you. Councilmember
That's it.
D'Ambro?
I have no other comments.
Okay, I just quick comments. I don't think this should come to surprise to anyone based off the budget workshops, but I can't support the proposed millage rate and budget for the upcoming fiscal year. This past year, we've exceeded our revenue expectations, and our revenue has outpaced our costs incurred from inflation. So our residents have and are still facing a volatile economy and inflation and a potential tax increase, and as well as we justifiably had to increase all of our use fees for the next year. In light of the extra revenue, I presented several options for to reduce taxes to the residents, or to put more money in reserves now, or to be a little more strategic with the approximately $2.4 million ARPA funds cash we have on hand right now, which is critical, I think, in the face of a uncertain economy still. Unfortunately, no one else wanted to consider or compromise on any of the options. I do want to say staff has done a great job putting together the budget, the presentations. It's super clear, detailed, transparent, so I really appreciate all the hard work. So it's not a reflection of the work you've done, but I did just want that on the record. Okay, with that, I will close the public hearing. So moving on to agenda items 2 and 3. By motion, the Village of DeQuesta should adopt the tentative millage rate. The motion should be that the tentative millage rate for fiscal year 2022-2023 be set at 6.6290 mils. Do I have a motion to set the tentative millage rate for fiscal year 2022-2023 at 6.6290 mil?
I'll motion.
And I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Just want to make sure the record, we have 3 yes votes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then moving on, by motion, the Village of DeQuesta should adopt the tentative budget. The motion should be that the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget be tentatively adopted. Do I have a motion for the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget to be tentatively adopted?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
And again, that was 3 votes in favor.
Correct.
Okay, and then I'm just going to announce the time and place of the final budget hearing will be here at the Village Council Chambers, September 15th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, we will take break till 6 p.m.